and the JOFO podcast. Just our fucking opinion. So basically, you can say whatever comes to your mind. So we'll start off. And here we go for another edition of JOFO Podcast. And my name is Frank JOFO, and this right here is A to the Tracks. What's going on, Tracks?
What's going on, bud? Guys, we just want to say this is what my house looks like. Normally you see us in the studio, but because of extenuating circumstances, we are all pushed to our respective caves today. Doesn't matter. Today, an actor from literally the movie that I have watched the most in my life. This is not a joke. I must have seen Billy Madison over, and I tried to make a legitimate count in my head the other day. I'm gonna say 500 times I've pressed play on that thing. I don't know if I've watched it 500 times from start to finish, but it has been on my TV easily half a thousand. Did we say that? Half a thousand? 500 times easy. Mr. Mark Beltzman is in the house with us tonight. Give a round of applause for Mr. Beltzman, everybody.
What's going on, Mark?
Aloha.
Yeah.
Hey. Aloha. So yeah, let's start off with that. Mark, you're in Hawaii. Shirt I noticed is that the reason you're wearing that the shirt, just to keep with the Hawaiian, or that's just your style?
Nice shirt. Wanted to look somewhat decent.
So you're you're gonna fit right in here. You're gonna fit right in, Mark. So you're in Hawaii now. Were you always in Hawaii? I know you must have been in LA to shoot movies at one point, right?
I lived in LA. Excuse me. I lived in LA for 30 years. From like 91 to October of 2019, I moved to Hawaii full time. And right before the pandemic, not knowing anything about this craziness we're living through. And it just turned out to be one of the gifts from the universe, and one of the gratuitous things my wife and I ever did was get the fuck out of Dodge right before this craziness. And we're on Maui, which is one of the safest places on earth. And it's been probably one of the magical 2 years of my life. It's almost embarrassing to say, because everybody else has been suffering around the world. And all I do is swim with sea turtles and octopus and stingrays all fucking day, 7 days a week, every day. And it's amazing.
You're basically an amphibian, is what you're telling me at this
point. I'll tell you exactly how it happened. Really, during the strictest lockdown, even here in Maui, you weren't allowed to be in a park. You weren't allowed to go to the beach. You weren't allowed to lay on the beach. You couldn't be pretty much anywhere outside unless you were like first responder.
Okay, this is with all the COVID restrictions and everything in Maui, right?
During the strictest COVID restrictions before vaccines and all that shit. But there's no maritime law. So as long as you were in the water, the cops left you alone. So
really?
Just for my mental health, every day, 7 days a week, I started going to my favorite beach and swimming and exercising and snorkeling. And I'm 60 years old, and for the first time in my life, I exercise 7 days a week with nothing but sheer joy. And it's great.
First of all, good to hear that you're in good health. Awesome. Yeah. I'm back on the exemption of maritime law here. Are you telling me that I can snort an 8-ball of cocaine if I'm waist high in the water in Hawaii? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but it's going to dissolve in the water. So
well, no. I have my ways. I'm going to get a fucking floaty and everything. This ain't no amateur hour.
And use the right metaphors, motherfucker. I mean, seriously. I don't think the cops are going to touch you if you're in the water, dissolving your cocaine in salt water. Be my guest. I think everybody will leave you alone.
Joe, they'll just laugh at me. Look at that idiot wasting fucking $500 of blow in the fucking water. So what made you move to Hawaii? It was just you wanted to get away from the fucking bright lights and the fucking the scene, or what?
Things. One, the business, the industry, film and television, and has changed dramatically in the last 10 years. I was fortunate enough to work during the heyday in the 80s and 90s, and I'm kind of spoiled because we got really good money and we were treated really well and had a lot of power, and all that's changed. And now for what I used to make, like say on a TV show, like $5,000 or $10,000 for a week's work, I get paid $125 to do the same job. So things have changed a lot, and it's just not as much fun as it used to be. And I figured if I'm only going to work a few times a year on union jobs, I can do that from anywhere. And I founded Maui Improv in 2014. So I've been coming back and forth to the Hawaiian Islands teaching and performing for years. So I had already had a pretty well set up a support community here. And I lived in London for a while and I wanted to go back to London, but I don't have a work visa. So I couldn't go there, and I figured, well, this is a great plan B. And my wife and I aren't getting any older, and this was just a great opportunity to get the hell out of Dodge and kind of, land here for a while and see what we wanted to do. And then the pandemic shut everything down, and like I said earlier, it's just been the greatest gift ever. So it's amazing, yeah.
It was a happy accident, you can say. You said that the acting has changed, the money and the
Yeah.
scene. Is it because of saturation? Is there just everybody and their fucking grandmother wants to be an actor now? Is it
No,
the
no. We kind of, what happened was like in 1997, there was a commercial strike, renegotiating the contracts for TV commercials, and um, producers hired, um, really powerful lawyers, attorneys, strike organizers. Actors thought they could do it all themselves. And basically, we lost all of our negotiation power and the contracts. They sort of like, oh, we'll look at, DVDs later. We'll look at the internet later. Oh, we'll figure all that out. It's not going to be that big of a deal. And we sold ourselves out.
you
And
sold yourself short?
we never really recovered. And now the actors used to have an equal amount of power to the producers, and we had rates that they had to match. We could have
But isn't that the sorry to
contracts.
interrupt you, but isn't that the Actors Guild? The it doesn't
Screen
something like
Actors Guild.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's still I'm grateful to be a union man and a union member, and I'm still a member of that union. There's AFTRA and SAG-AFTRA is the American Film and Television Radio Artists. Um,
Okay. And then
um,
SAG is the one that they made fun of on the
and
South
SAG,
Park movie.
right. And now the producers have all the power, so they're like, we're going to pay you basically nothing on an ultra low budget contract, and you can either take it or leave it. If you don't want it, we'll find somebody else who
That's
can do
somebody else is gonna do it. That's the fucking thing, right? Yeah.
it.
So
Yeah, that's
unless you're that
actually
big name, you're gonna
that's
get
right.
fucking pushed out.
Yeah, unless you're a $1 million movie star, and I have not achieved that level of fame, but I've been very fortunate, have a great career, and I love what I do. So that's cool.
Find along with other gimmicks and papers and trays and bongs and
Water
all
bottles.
that groovy jazz at getbongia.com. So if you want to hide smoking from your parents with that smoke buddy,
Yeah.
or you just want a tray,
Gone are the days of using a fucking toilet paper roll on a
shut
bounce
up.
sheet.
You're gonna put smoke buddy out of business.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
That doesn't
That
work.
last
Smoke,
thing
smoke
does
buddy
not
works. You can get that, like I said, getbongia.com. JOFO10, that's promo code. Will get you 10% off. That is DHS Porcentes Offos.
That's right. And if you need somewhere nice to sit while you're smoking your steak,
you can do it on these chairs that we have over here that we got from Esports Central, which is a gaming center located at 1221 St. Catherine Street West in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, where you can go there and play any game from League of Legends to Counter-Strike to fucking Mario Kart to Sonic to Mario 1 to Dr. Mario. They got everything there. Go check them out. Say JOFO sent you. They probably won't let you back in.
That's a good point. You seem happy. Like I've watched like I said, Billy Madison over 500 times, and then as we found out we're gonna get you on the show, I was doing a bit of research. I found out that you were in some other things. I guess that like I've like Seinfeld, for example. I'm a huge Seinfeld fucking fan. Are you a huge Seinfeld fan as well, or did you just get that role and because it was work?
They were pretty cool, actually. It was they really wanted to hire me, and they called me in to audition for a bunch of different roles, and they finally found something that worked, and I was fortunate enough to be able to work on that show, and it was great. And Larry David was cool, and then I was in a pilot for Curb Your Enthusiasm,
Yeah, that's
and
right.
I thought I had a TV series finally, and then I was one of the few people who didn't get picked up as a regular for the series. So be it.
How's it the difference between you worked on both Seinfeld and Curb script wise? I've heard that there's not much of a script for Curb. It's all like
None.
there's none, eh? It's all like you have to
It's
get
more
this
like
out.
improv, right?
No, yeah, it's all improvised. Yeah, it's all improvised, and they give you like when you audition for Curb, they give you just a little slip of paper that describes the scenario, and then you improvise all of your dialogue.
Everything.
Yeah, yeah. And
So
Seinfeld, they actually give you a script, and you got to follow the script and memorize your lines. Yeah.
and I always wanted to ask this, like when somebody gives you a script, like is I guess it's depending on the writer, but is there room for like interpretation? Like if are you allowed to like change words here and there as long as you get the same point off? I always wondered this as
Every production's different, and
right. That's what I
writers
figured.
are very particular about their words, and it depends on the director for the most part. And sometimes they stick to the script verbatim, and sometimes they let you paraphrase stuff. And what I've learned over my 40-year career is that you give them exactly what they want on the page, and then you actually do number of takes for every scene.
Yeah.
And so once you give them what they want, you just fucking do what you want, and they actually usually use what you do because it sounds more natural.
Yeah,
We know it's funny. I mean, we're fucking good. We're in the business, so it just usually works that way. And I could tell you a lot of stories about my career where that's happened quite often. Like in The Wedding Singer,
yep.
I was the Flock of Seagulls guy, and I was friends with Sandler because I had done Billy Madison, and I was just fucking with Sandler because it was actually his line to say, "Do you like Flock of Seagulls?" And I was just fucking with him, and they ended up using that take instead of using a take where he says, "Do you like Flock of Seagulls?"
I feel
Like
like
that, you know?
I feel like you're trying to make each other laugh. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of like if you can break the actor, it's like it's guaranteed gonna be a
Oh,
fucking hit with the audience, right?
100%. Yeah, 100%. I was fortunate enough to work at a place in Chicago called the Second City, which is where
We're
a
gonna
lot
bring
of
that up.
famous people get their start.
Yeah.
And at Second City, you do a scripted review for about an hour and a half, and then you take suggestions from the audience and you improvise, and then you build up a new repertoire of scenes to open up a new review. Well, the review
Okay.
runs for about a year usually. And as actors, sometimes we get bored with the review. So to fuck with the actors, we would do kind of silly stuff on stage. Like there was a
Just to
game we
throw
called,
him off.
yeah, there was a game we called Pass the Penny. So you had to pass the penny to another actor on stage
Oh
without the
god.
audience seeing it or noticing it. And sometimes the other actor didn't even note it. And you go, "Hey, look in your pocket. You have the penny. It's your turn to pass it." And just stick with it, you know?
That's amazing. It's like I live for that shit. These are the stories that I fucking that I want to hear. Is there any? Okay, let's get back to Billy Madison because I have a lot of notes here. And I'm sorry, I'm probably gonna bring up Billy Madison a lot. I hope you don't. I hope I'm not typecasting you here or anything. Like it's just because this movie is near and dear to my heart. I know for you it's maybe something that you don't even like you did or whatever you did a long time ago, but too fucking bad because it's one of my favorite fucking movies ever. So we're gonna talk about it.
It's obviously comedy porn for you. So yeah, go ahead
It's
and check off
but
the list.
yeah, well, if you mean I jerk off to it, then yeah, it's comedy
Yeah,
porn.
okay.
But
Well,
for
there you
different
go.
reasons. Uh,
Right.
it's so first of all, something I have to know. Were you supposed to be a stoner in that movie, and they didn't want to show you smoking weed? Like, or or was it
No,
just drunk? No,
no,
no.
there were no. I mean, when we were off, I was smoking weed from time to time. I'll just say this: as an actor for 40 years, I've never gotten high or drank or did any mind altering substances before I worked because I made a promise to myself early on. I never wanted to have anything to blame when I look at myself on screen
No
other than
excuses.
just my talent. So I've never been stoned, on camera.
But
That being said, as far as the story goes, no, we weren't We weren't supposed to be stoners
okay,
in the story.
okay, because that was my question. I wasn't calling you.
Yeah.
I wasn't saying you looked like you were high. It's
No,
because
no, no.
because back then at that time they weren't showing people smoking in movies. Do you remember? Like
No.
it was like a faux pas. Only like later on with actually, well, Cheech and Chong did it. We actually had Chong on our
Oh,
episode.
great movie. Yeah, I grew up to that shit too. I loved
Yeah,
it. I
but
actually
like
saw
beside.
them live. I've seen them live at Universal Amphitheater.
Oh
See-
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of recently, like about 10 years ago, maybe. And it was amazing. It was really fun. A buddy of
We
mine directed it.
we interviewed Chung on this stupid podcast. Believe it or not, he said
Yeah.
because we were Canadian, he has an affinity for Canadians, and he did it for. He had a little bit of a trouble getting the camera working and shit, so we still haven't even sent it out yet. I don't know how blazed he was, but he was amazing and like just a whole other level. Back to
But
the back.
but tracks to relate on that, because I remember Billy Madison, the Penguin. Who was supposed to see the Penguin? Because we know Adam Sandler saw the Penguin.
So the
We know
penguin is kind of like it's when
we
he's
know
fucked
Chris
up, right?
Farley saw the Penguin. Did
Yeah.
you see the Penguin in the
It's a good
movie?
question.
You mean, did my character
Yeah.
see the Penguin?
Yes, your character.
No, I don't think my character ever saw the Penguin.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
I don't believe so.
The penguin is just it's that like that's like the most artistic part of the film is
It's
is
a
the penguin.
it's a
Yeah.
figment of his imagination as a character in the movie. Yeah,
Yeah, but when he's in a bad place, right?
right,
It's he
right.
doesn't see that like when he's happy, you know? Like it's only when it's a negative. It's like when he's in a dark place, you know? Like there's other movies that have you ever seen It's All Gone Pete Tong?
No.
It's actually a great movie about this DJ that goes deaf. And there's all kinds of cameos by like famous DJs and stuff. It's actually a really like famous. It's like a cult classic, kind of like Billy Madison. So back to the story thing, yeah. So I had assumed that, like, that one of my favorite scenes, the 30 bag of lunches, how they threw that in there. Like they have you guys. How'd you get there? Like we don't know how you guys got there. All of a sudden you're with Chris Farley eating the lunches in front of the thing. They don't explain how you guys. Last we saw you, you were drinking fucking or lighting shit on fire on the thing. They don't explain anything. Was there a lot of cutout scenes in that? Like I'm sure there is in every
Oh
film,
yeah.
but
Oh
there.
fuck. I think I did. You know, I would say I had probably another half hour or 40 minutes worth of camera time that all got cut out of there. And
Yeah,
when they edit it, that this always happens.
yeah.
They change the story based on how the editing's going. And I think Sandler was in the room the whole time. The director may or may not been there. That's a whole nother story. First director got fired.
Okay,
Um,
he wrote
and
that movie if I'm not mistaken, right? Adam Sandler and somebody
Sandler,
else.
Sandler and Tim Hurley, he
Yeah.
basically write all their movies. And then my character was actually supposed to be played by Alan Covey, who's in a lot of other Sandler movies. But Sandler didn't have enough power at that point to hire all of his friends for that film. He has since then. He's been able to do that, but
Ali Cover is he's the caddy in Happy Gilmore, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
he's the guy from
right.
Grandma's
Yeah,
Boy.
yeah. So
Yeah,
he was
Grandma's
supposed
Boy,
to
yeah.
have my part's actually named after Jack Garaputo, who's the producer on that, and
Wow.
Covey, Jack Garaputo, Hurley, and Sandler all went to NYU together. So
Okay.
they've been
Wow.
friends for a million years, and he kind of took them all on this journey with him. And
Yeah, it's like
yeah,
must be nice to be in that fucking in that crew, eh? That's literally the
yeah,
story of Entourage without an action star. With if it was a comedy movie, it would be Adam. If it was a comedy star, it would be Adam Sandler, and Turtle would
Yeah.
be fucking
yeah,
Colbert or whatever, right? It's the guy.
yeah, exactly. You got it.
He brought him up. So why couldn't it just stick with that? How come you couldn't attach yourself and make him cast you another?
Good question. Why don't you call Sandler and ask him that? I don't know. I
Well,
mean,
do you have his number?
no,
Do you still keep in touch? Real talk. Do you still keep in touch with Adam? When's the last time?
no, I don't have any contact information for him.
I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna. I'm not asking for the contact information. I'm just.
just saying, if I were to run into him somewhere, and I have, he's very friendly, and we would hang out for a minute and catch up. But I don't have any
Has he?
real outside relationship with him.
Okay, it was strictly work.
I would
Work
like to. I
related.
mean, he's on Maui all the time, and people come up to me and go, "Hey, Sandler's here. Sandler's here," and I'm like, "Yeah, okay, well,
Yeah.
great.
If he wants to
He doesn't
reach
call
out, he
me.
would. Doesn't
Yeah,
call me. Yeah, yeah. You don't want to be one of those guys blowing up his. Is it? Don't worry. We'll make a clip for you over here. He
whatever.
misses you, Adam.
Hey,
Mark
man,
misses you, man.
I'm an actor, man. I just want to work. I will work with him anytime. I wish he would call me. I wish he would put me in other stuff, and it never happens. And
What about
I
Jack
don't
and
take
Joe?
any of that shit personally. It's not personal. It's just business. And so he's a great guy. You know, I think I respect the shit out of him. He takes care of a lot of people.
Yeah,
He still puts all of Farley's brothers in his movies and takes care of all of his friends and
yeah.
family. And he's just a great guy and very loyal. And for whatever reason, I just didn't make the cut. Don't know why.
Uh,
Well, sitting there in that seat with the sandwiches,
yeah,
just as a fan, what was in that sandwich? Because it
yeah. What were
seems
those
like you
sandwiches?
took a bite out of the sandwich in the
They
seat,
didn't
and
look very good. Like they look very dry.
Chris Farley's
I
just eating away
don't
there.
really remember. I mean, I
Really?
think they probably would have asked us if we wanted anything or had any allergies or something. I don't remember.
You
Yeah,
don't
what was
remember?
in the sandwich? No.
So that
Like,
movie in itself, you had Adam Sandler, Norm Macdonald, rest in peace.
oh, I
Chris,
know, man. I'm so sad.
yeah, and he didn't
No,
tell he didn't tell anybody about it. Well, maybe
he
his
didn't
close.
tell anybody. I was texting some other friends, and they didn't know about it.
No,
His closest friends in SNL, and nobody knew. It was really, really.
Is that the way Norm was? Like he just kept
Yeah,
everything to
I don't.
himself, or he?
I'll tell you.
I don't think he wanted people to feel sorry for him. But you would know
No,
more.
I'd say Norm was always very, very reserved, and Norm's a genius. He's probably one of the funniest people I've ever met in his life, and he was neurotic as fuck, and he was crazy. He really was. He would do crazy shit like he would quit smoking, and he would like tear up his cigarettes and throw them in the garbage, and then he'd
Mind
send
if I?
he'd send a PA to the store to go get another pack of cigarettes. And then he'd smoke one cigarette and he'd say, "Ah," and rip them up, and just like crazy shit like that. And he always had a bunch of doctors. I'm like, Norm, how many doctors do you have? He goes, I don't know, like 12. I go, you don't know when I'm sick. He goes, I have a throat doctor, a heart doctor. So he's
Yeah.
real
So
hypochondriac. But
someone's gonna fucking find something.
he was a genius, and I loved him too. Again, if I would run into him, we'd be very friendly and hang out, and we just didn't have any kind of contact with him, and nobody did for the last few years. So
Yeah. You must know who Mike Ward is. You know who Mike Ward is?
no,
He's a comedian from Montreal, Quebec. He's the one that got sued for the joke about the handicap kid, and recently went to court. And last week or so, after 10 years, was acquitted of all charges. Didn't have to pay the guy, so it's a big step for comedy. But long story short, he's a
so
friend of
that's
our. He's
Dave
a friend.
Chappelle, yeah.
Yeah, he's a friend of ours, he's been on the show, and he says exactly like you said. He's worked with Norm. He's hilarious, reserved, and he's a comedian's comedian. This is like the fifth or sixth comedian that's told me that he's one of their favorite comics as a comedian.
Yeah.
So that's gotta say something. What I find ironic though is he won't come up a lot in non-comedian. If you ask a non-comedian, you're always gonna get the Chappelle, the fucking what's his name, the George
Yeah.
Carlin,
He was too smart. A lot
he
of people didn't get his humor, and he was just really and smart. And I remember while we were shooting Billy Madison, him and Sandler were still on SNL, and Norm had to fly back to New York. We shot it in Toronto. Norm had to fly to New York to audition to be on Weekend Update. And so he would try out his material on us, and he came up with, what was his bit? Germans love David Hasselhoff, because Hasselhoff was really famous in Germany. And, shit like that. He would just try out these bits, and then he ended up getting
getting picked,
Weekend Update, and, the
which
rest
was
is history.
huge. Yeah, exactly. insane, eh? Like that's what I'm saying. That movie, Bill Madison, without knowing it, it's a stepping stone. Like just that was his first. That was Adam Sandler's first thing, right? Then he did Happy Gilmore, and then he named his company Happy Madison Productions.
He was in a couple movies before that, but it was
Yeah,
Madison
yeah,
was his first script that
yeah,
they wrote. Yeah.
yeah. What was he in before that? Bulletproof.
There was, I don't know, there was a Christmas movie he was in. There was also a movie about three rock and roll guys. I can't remember.
Airheads.
Airheads. Yeah.
Airheads with Brendan Fraser and
And then there was some movie with a Christmas movie with Juliette Lewis, because she came to visit him in his hotel room in Toronto while we were shooting the movie.
The improv side of it, like the Second City. I know a lot of the guys from Saturday Night Live came from there. I'm sure that helped a lot with stand-up comedy, acting. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I know that Del Close was a big inspiration for you as well.
Oh, Del, yeah, Del was our mentor, our hero, and another genius who was batshit fucking crazy.
Sometimes they are often, almost always, they go hand in hand. No.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely you got to take a look in the mirror on that one. It's like, well, I don't know.
Are you calling me a genius or crazy, or are you calling yourself?
No, I would look at myself in the mirror, not you. But
depends what kind of mirror. I have a double-sided mirror over here where I let people come over and sleep, so I can see on the other side.
You're doing the interview. Follow the conversation here. Listen carefully.
Sorry.
No, I'm just fucking with you, man.
I know, bro. I know. I love it. I love it. Keep it going.
Yeah, and so it's great. I teach here in Hawaii. I call it a master class in acting taught through improvisation. There's a lot of people who teach improv, but I have a lot more experience in movies and television than most of them. So I've just kind of picked and pulled from all the stuff I've learned in 40 years, and I teach, like I said, this class, and I love doing it.
That must. I was just gonna say that seems like a fucking. So you're basically doing you're teaching, yes, but you teach through example, I would assume. So you're basically doing improv as your job, getting paid for it. That's you found that pretty good fucking niche over there, no? Like that's good.
It's fun. I love it, man. I love doing it. I don't know what else I would do. Look, I'll be honest with you, and I love getting high, man. I still love smoking weed. I love drinking. There's nothing in the world that gets me higher than doing this work. Improv, acting, being on stage, teaching, performing. I love it. I can't get enough of it, and it's really,
So it's the release then. It's not necessarily the applause or the thing. You
No,
like
it's
it
the
as a release.
endorphins.
Yeah, it's a release for you.
That's why there's so many. That's why there's so many addicts and alcoholics and people who are
In the
constantly
industry.
dying in this industry. What happens is it's very psychological. You get a job and you get worshipped by producers and directors, and you get everything you want because they want you to do a good job and they want you to be happy, and then you acquire some fame like this. Billy Madison. I'm not famous at all, but you guys know me because
In my heart, you are.
and thanks, brother. I appreciate that. But and then you go home and you're just you. You got your own fucking problems and you got to pay your bills. And just because you've been on Seinfeld or in Billy Madison, people think you're rich, and it's not true, man. It doesn't work that way. And so we may get paid quite a bit of money, but I work, 3 or 4 times a year. So it doesn't, if you add it out per day and all the stuff that I do for free, like performing and, doing
And
improv
podcasts.
and podcasts,
Yeah.
it doesn't come out to just a
No.
couple bucks for each appearance or performance, really, if you divide it up. So it's a blessing, and I love it, and it feeds my mental health to be working, and I'm very fortunate that I can do it.
Let's talk about how you got into acting, though, because I heard the story, the tuba. You're also a musician. But
Mhm.
before an actor, you played the tuba. Am I right?
Yeah, I still do.
And you
I have
still
a
do.
couple of tubas, yeah. I have a 109-year-old tuba that I had restored. It's a pretty amazing instrument.
A
Uh,
109-year-old tuba. Imagine the lips of the person that was on that before.
no
Like,
shit, if that tuba could talk, right?
yeah. Well, you make it talk, right? You make it sing. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah, man, it sounds amazing too. So yeah,
the
two different conversations. One, I played the tuba since I was in fourth grade, and my best friend from high school is named Robert Teachman, and he used to hang out at his house a lot. His parents had a couple of friends who were photographers, and one of them was named Charlie Schritty. And Charlie said, "Can I rent your tuba for a Lazy Boy Chair magazine ad?" And I said, "Sure." And he goes, "You want to be in it?" And that was the first job I did. I was actually a model in a magazine ad. And then this other photographer friend of the same family, his name was Amin Harani. And Amin is really responsible for starting my career. He asked me to do a TV commercial in Detroit, which is where I'm from, and it was all just still photos,
photography.
and it was called Highland Appliance, and I was Tony Baker, the high-low driver who drove his forklift into 400 refrigerators. And that thing made me, I mean, they sold it to like a bunch of 4 or 5 different markets, and I was like in my 20s, and I would just get these checks in the mail. Back then they were like 300-400 bucks a piece, but they would come constantly, and kept me funded.
Yeah.
And so those guys are responsible for starting my career, and the tuba definitely played a big part in that. And now I still do. I have my own show called Tubazar, Tubaczar, and I am the czar of the tuba. And I invite other artists to come play their music. They just
Oh,
have
wow.
to write me a tuba part to play along. And so in LA, I've been doing it for like the last 12 years. In LA, I would have people like Lawrence Juber, who was Paul McCartney's guitarist in the Wings, and this girl Marcy Levy, who wrote "Lay Down Sally" for Eric Clapton, was his backup singer, and Emo Phillips and Harry Dean Stanton, the great Harry Dean Stanton, did my show once. And I would get a lot of celebrities, and it's just a fun thing to do. And I've done it here in Maui a couple of times, and I love doing that. It's just fun. Another
It's a
one of my
it's a it's
favorites.
a- it's a it's a jam session.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it turns into a band for a night kind of thing, because
Yeah,
I
that's
get like
super.
4 or 5 artists, and everybody says, "Oh, I can play on that with that person. I can play on that," and everybody just kind of forms a band for the night. It's really fun.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a link between music and acting and all that. There's a
Oh,
lot
for
of a lot
sure.
of people like even Adam Sandler plays the guitar. The fucking
Yeah, he's
has
damn good.
albums and he's not the
Yeah,
only one.
that Farley song, man, that'll bring a tear to your
Oh
eye.
yeah, I can't listen to it. I literally can't listen to it, bro, because I'm just
Yeah,
gonna cry. Like
it's just beautiful.
yeah, it's that and what's it called? Every Breath I Take, the Biggie song. They're in
Yeah.
the same. They're in the same
But I
category.
remember when we shot Wedding Singer, Billy Idol was in it, and we were at the wrap party. I was hanging out with Billy Idol, and then they all got up and they had jams for hours. It was a private concert. It was amazing.
Crazy, eh?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Another time you played as well was in Home Alone with John Candy, another great Canadian.
Yeah,
And I
that's
know
my tuba. That's actually my tuba in that. And
Is that the 108-year-old tuba?
well, not then
not
it wasn't, but it is now.
That
Uh,
was very quick of you there. That was very
well,
quick.
I'm an improviser. That's what I do.
Yeah, that's what I do.
and
I get it.
I know there's a great story about the John Candy scene with you in Home Alone
Yeah,
Home Alone
because
as
we
well.
How do you guys know all
we
this?
do our research, bro. What do you think this is? This is not our fucking first rodeo over here, you know?
Yeah, well,
No,
you
no,
act
seriously.
like that. Somebody
We have
burned your internet. You're working from home. You there's whatever. Candy is definitely hands down one of my favorite actors. Anytime somebody says who's the favorite actor you've ever worked with, always John Candy. I'm still friends with his family. As a matter of fact, his daughter Jennifer, who's a spitting image of him,
Oh yeah.
is a great actress, and his son Chris is a great actor. And Chris has done my show Too Bizarre before. But
What does
she
he
has,
play?
huh?
What does Chris play as an instrument?
Chris, he played some keyboards and guitar and sang, um, and a trumpet. He played trumpet. That's right. Um,
Okay. So you just
So
basically blatantly lied to us before that. It wasn't the keyboard, or he did all and the trumpet.
no, he did. He had to in the show. I think he played keyboard. He brought in a guitarist, and he also played trumpet.
It's fucking Bruno Mars over here. This guy.
Um, and so Jennifer has a show called Couch Candy. And if you go to YouTube and Google Couch Candy with Mark Beltzman, what she does is interviews all of people who worked with her father. So it's a great show, and you should check it out because you'll recognize everybody she interviews. And each episode's like 40 minutes or 45 minutes or something. But the story about John Candy is that I was on the set of Home Alone, and John only had one day to shoot the entire movie. And we were going into hour 20. We had been working all day on the movie, and we still had stuff to shoot.
He did it pro bono,
in the day,
right?
Huh?
He didn't even get paid for that movie. I watched the documentary, and he did that for free
No,
as a.
him and John Hughes were very
Yeah,
close
exactly.
planes and trains, automobiles, and
Yeah.
so he did it as a favor for John Hughes. And I was in a few of John Hughes's movies too. That was really fun. John Hughes was very good to me. So, anyways, back to the story. Was earlier in that day, John Candy was talking to John Hughes and Christopher Columbus. I think it was only like the second movie that Chris Columbus ever directed or something like that. And they were going, Mark, come over here. We got this thing we want to do in the back of the van. Here's the setup. Here's the scene. Do you have any ideas? And I came up with a whole bunch of shit. I was just so excited to be talking to those guys. And I came up with some brilliant stuff. And then cut to, we're going on hour 21 or 22. And they go, okay, just fuck it. We're going to do a 2-shot on John Candy and Catherine O'Hara. You guys in the back of the van pretend like you're asleep. And so then they yell action, and John Candy said all of the ideas I had told him earlier in the day, and then they yell cut, and he looks at me and goes, sorry, kid, I used all your stuff. I hope you don't mind. And I was just like, no, that was awesome. And I was so naive. I should have asked for writing credit. I basically wrote that scene in the van, and I never got any credit for that. But it was really fun, and it's a great story, and I love that man. And those guys were very good to me. Yeah.
The crazy part is we can never fact check that either. He's dead now too, that guy. So
I know, man. God, man, knock on wood.
yeah, you're right.
still
Honestly,
here.
it's this cheap fucking thing from IKEA. I don't even know if this is wood. I gotta hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of man. So that's why when you say you're in good health, good. I'm happy to hear that, man. The improv that you're doing, that's your biggest. From what I gather here, that's your biggest love is improv. Like
I love acting. You know, if anybody says, "What do you do?" I'm an actor. I love acting. I just don't do it as often as I would like. I would love to be $1 million movie star, and you know, deal those offers here and there. But I'm still one of those guys who has to audition for shit, and I audition all the time, and I don't get booked nearly as often as I would like. So
yeah, but I know this is coming from a nobody, but the big break could happen at any fucking time. Who knows what it could be? Like you could get your.
Well, I think I'm healthy and really happy and content because I believe my best work is still ahead of me. So hopefully, I'll get an opportunity to do that someday.
I hope you will. I guarantee you. I'm still down to talk a little bit. I know this sounds like it's winding down. Do you have anything? Are you you could crack a beer or something? Are you drinking a beer there?
No, I just it's too early for me. It's fucking only 4 o'clock here.
Well, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's no. That's what they say. Open up one of those canties behind you. What are those? Are those?
Those are wine.
Yeah, I know. I know.
So I know you worked with
I love whiskey. I love whiskey. I love rye. I love bourbon. So I'll crack into that in a little while. But if I'm out partying, if I'm at a bar, I'm out. I can fucking drink all night long and have a blast. If I'm at home and I start drinking, I got like 3 hours in me and I'm done.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's about the atmosphere.
I have to time it out because otherwise I'll be asleep by 7:30 if I start drinking now.
Okay.
Any crazy party stories from back in the day, like the Billy Madison? Like I know that Norm Macdonald would like to have some fun as well. Chris Farley, obviously, as well. Big fans of Chris Farley, Norm Macdonald, as you know. So
Farley, yeah, I mean, I have a lot of great stories. It's hard to Speak of the Dead, Speak Ill of the
Yeah.
Dead.
Well, I wouldn't say ill. That's amazing.
I'll tell you one really funny story about Farley. I was at a bar in Chicago. We were hanging out, partying. Farley comes wandering up to me, and I swear to God, he goes, "I took 7 hits of acid. I told everybody else I only took 3." And he was tripping balls. It was fucking hilarious.
But what I respect about him is that, honestly, everyone used to say he was a big party guy and everything, but he was a church guy. He was a family guy. He loved his family. He loved his friends.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So
man.
you can't say anything bad about the guy, but
He was a crazy partier. We all knew he was going to go early. He had a short fuse, and you know,
Knock on wood again. Fucking.
yeah, exactly. But he kept a lot of his private life parts private, and he was a very loyal churchgoer and contributed to old people and visited them every day. He would go, do some kind of charity work either through the church or with the church, and he was very loyal to that. Yeah, he was a good man. I mean, he was a good man.
very good man.
Big family. Was it? Cheese, Wisconsin, right? He's
Yeah.
So
His
he's big family, big church there. Yeah, it's
literally
right.
big family. His dad
Yeah,
was like,
yeah, like
his
big,
dad-
like in every sense of the fucking word, big. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, big man. Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
still keep in contact with his brothers, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, yeah, I mean, John's on Facebook, and him and I, how Facebook works. And Kevin's a great guy. I saw Kevin ran into him in LA, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, walking down the street, and we hung out for a bit, catching up and talking. So, yeah, I'm still friendly with them.
They're all
But,
in LA.
I think both of them are still in LA. Kevin might be in New York. I'm not sure, but John, I believe, is in the suburbs of Los Angeles. Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
and then he has other brothers. His brother Tom, I think, still lives in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a big family, like you said. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
big and big. What else do I have written down here? Okay, yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. You said you like acting, improv, but if you had to choose, if you could do a Seinfeld episode or a Curb episode, in the sense of the script is written 100% for you, or it's literally a blank page, what would you choose?
I have
If it
no
was,
preference. I have no preference, man. I just love working. Honest to God, I'll tell you one thing I do prefer. I love watching movies and I love making movies. So I love making movies and being on a movie set. I'm not poo pooing or downgrading television at all. I love and I'm so fortunate to have a career where I was able to do a lot of both. But there's plus and minuses to both, right?
yeah,
Like if you have a TV
exactly.
show, you basically got a regular gig if you're a regular on a TV show, and
It's
you
a
get a regular
paycheck, right?
check, and you do 22 episodes a year, and so there's a real benefit to having regular hours and a regular place to go to work. Whereas movies are 14, 15-hour days. And a lot more exhausting. But there's something about me. I love watching movies and I love making movies. So
Well,
that's my preference.
it would
But
be in a
as far as
movie.
work goes, man, I just want to work. That's all.
That's
That's
all.
all.
Yeah.
I love doing it. I just do. It's great.
Do
And I
you
have a lot of downtime too. So I love doing nothing.
do you write at all? Have you written any scripts
No,
or
I've,
shown?
I've I've written a lot of stuff over the years, and I'm kind of like a punch up guy, and I help people. I can teach writing. I teach sketch writing, a lot of stuff like that. So I dabble in it, but no, I've never written a screenplay that's been produced. I'll say that.
Okay.
Are
Okay.
you a big fan of Saturday Night Live? I don't know if you were
Yeah, I
on
mean,
Saturday Night Live as an
well,
extra or
for a while there, we all kind of, I think the whole world kind of got bored of SNL until Alec Baldwin, ironically, of all people these days, is in the news for all the wrong reasons. And that's a very sad situation. But he pretty much brought SNL back to life single-handedly, playing Trump. And
Yeah.
man, I'm a big fan again. I love watching the show. Even this week, the past 3 weeks since they came back, it's been great.
What's
So
your
yeah,
thought?
again.
what's your thought about to me personally? I know you didn't ask, but I'll give it to you anyways because it's just our fucking opinion here. The whole them canceling Gavin McInnes for a joke against the chink that he made 5 years ago made me cancel them. Like I don't want to watch them. If they're gonna cancel people, like I'll give you a taste of your own stupid medicine. I know they don't give a shit, but like I'm so against cancel culture that that's the only way I feel like I can fight back. Like I'm not gonna.
Yeah, well, I don't
What?
feel that way, but
No, no,
I
I
don't
know.
know.
I'm not. But I
It's a
was more.
network thing, and network attorneys make decisions that we're not privy to, and for reasons we're not privy to. So I have no idea how that shit works or what went down or didn't go down. But um, you know, it's a crazy world we live in, and before cell phones and texting and Twitter. No, we all had fucking lives nobody knew about, and you didn't get caught for a fucking tweet you made 10 years ago and fired for it.
Exactly.
And it's bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's all an invasion of privacy, and it's all. If we all got, there's skeletons in every single one of our closets. I don't care who you are or how perfect you are. It's look at fucking Aaron Rodgers, man. I mean, everybody has a skeleton in their
Hey,
closet.
don't you diss Aaron Rodgers now?
I didn't diss him.
Yeah,
I
I
just
know.
said he's got a skeleton, and he was hiding shit, and he wasn't. If anybody should know what a rule book is all about and what the fucking rules are, it's an NFL player, and to not
Especially a
follow
quarterback. Yeah.
to not follow the rules and then make excuses for not following the rules. That's just really ridiculous. It doesn't make sense to me.
He was
But
trying to play football in the end. He was trying to win games for his team. Like,
yeah, he also lied to the public, and he's a big influencer.
and
So
but so did Tom Brady when he deflated the football. So did Bill Belichick says if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. You
well,
know,
I mean, that's why every pitcher, everybody's covered because they have lip readers and shit and don't
yeah,
know,
yeah, 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 yeah.
So
There
I
was
mean,
one
yeah,
guy. There was one guy. I was sorry to interrupt you. I saw the other day in baseball. He was a pitcher. Was in his glove was had a piece of sandpaper and he was sanding
oh
the
yeah.
ball before he would throw it. And like the
I
umpire's
mean,
like this guy,
nowadays, I have a good buddy in L.A. and his brother is Max Fried, who was the starting pitcher of the last game at
Oh yeah. Wow.
the World Series, and he did an amazing job.
Yeah.
But I was watching that game, and now just starting this year, he ran off field after pitching an inning, and the umpire took his mitt and his hat and inspected him right there on the field. And they started
Wow.
doing that because of what you just said. And
yeah.
so I was texting his brother who was sitting in the stands watching him play. And I said, "Is that normal?" He goes, "Yeah, it started this year." So now it's
Wow.
like, yeah.
It
Big
takes
brother's watching.
these cheaters so that we make the rules better. Now they know. Next time somebody gives a fucking stupid vague answer, like yes, I'm unionized, whatever the fuck he said, they're gonna question it. They're gonna come. This guy's teaching us lessons. He's doing it for the people, my friend. He's making the league better by doing this. He's testing the league. He's a goddamn advocate for the sport.
Well, I will say this: the bigger the breakdown, the bigger the breakthrough. So I'll give you that.
Yeah,
That's true.
exactly. While we're here on quotes, you said something that stuck to me again. I did when I was listening to you. This quote I had to write it down. You said with acting, like just to preface this, acting how kind of it fell in your laps and you succeeded at it, almost because you weren't trying too hard, right? I heard you say that like one of the things that you teach people in your improv class too is if you try too hard, like it comes off, right? Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I call my workshops the Art of Allowing Improv workshops with Mark Beltzman, and the Art of Allowing is kind of stolen from Abraham Hicks. And if you don't know who that is, look them up. They have um, there's a book called Ask and It Is Given by Esther and Jerry Hicks,
I
and
wrote that
it's
down
all
too.
about law of attraction. And it's a great book that changed my life. And so I took the Art of Allowing from them because they call their workshops, which I've been to, the Art of Allowing. And the whole point is to let it happen to you instead of you working so hard to make something happen.
Hmm.
And you have to replace thinking with listening. You have to be in the moment. You have to make your partner look good so you look twice as good. And you want to figure out what's working and do more of it instead of trying to change and fix what's wrong. How do you know the difference between what works and what doesn't? One makes you smile and the other doesn't. We're all born with an internal mechanism that tells us what works in our life. And the more you can focus on whatever's working in your life, uh, like if only 1% of your life is working and 99% is broken, you just focus on that 1% and keep doing whatever makes you smile. And that percentage will grow. So eventually those percentages will change and only 1% of your life is broken. And I don't care, whatever makes you happy. I don't care if it's getting high, masturbating, drinking,
You have you been following me around?
going to the gym,
Never mind.
whatever it is, just do more of your whatever's working in your life instead of focusing on what's wrong, because it's a societal epidemic that we all what if to the negative, right?
Yeah,
You'd be
that's
driving
exactly
down
it.
the street and somebody cuts you off, and you're like, "What if that fucker hit me?" Well, maybe
Yeah. What if I
maybe
get
his
struck
kid's
by
in the
lightning?
hospital.
Yeah.
Maybe his kid's in the hospital. Maybe his what he forgot to pick up his kid or his wife. Maybe he just didn't see you.
But
But
you know
whatever
what?
it is, like we
Maybe
all
maybe here's the thing. Maybe that guy is a piece of shit and he's not happy. But you know what? To your point, who gives a fuck? Why do you have to make make you unhappy?
it doesn't matter. So if none of us can predict what the future is, whether it's 5 seconds, 5 minutes, or 5 years from now, why not what if to the positive? What if this is the greatest thing that happened in life instead of, oh my God, what if I make a mistake? What if I can't pay my rent? What if they break up with me? What if I
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
lose it? I mean,
What if the police find out? Yeah.
yeah, and so you got to be positive, and whatever you are, creative source energy, and you create everything in your life, whether you know it or not. And so you want to focus on what it is you're putting out to the universe, because that's exactly what you're getting back. Like if you want more money and you go, oh, I want more money, and then you go to the store and go, I can't afford the name brand, I got to get the cheap brand. And you look at the internet and you go, I want to go on vacation to Italy, but I can't afford it. Then you're putting out a message of you can't afford it, so that's what you get back more of.
Exactly.
The more you can create exactly what you want
Yeah.
and live into that and believe that you already have it, then that's what works, and that's what the law of attraction is about. That's what the art of allowing is about, and that's the premise of your question: is let it happen to you instead of you working so hard to make something happen. And that's why I'm living in Maui.
Yeah. And you didn't ask to be a fucking actor. Somebody came up to you and goes, "Yo, could I use your tuba?" Fast forward, you're eating sandwiches with Norm Macdonald and Chris Farley
There you go.
on a bus. Um,
Awesome.
I'm gonna let you go because I'm sure you got a life. I do want to say one thing though,
Yeah.
Mark. If in the future we do it later on, I want to have a beer with you. We'll be upstairs. We'll have our things. We'll do it later so you can have a beer with us.
Yeah.
You know, and because I feel like you know we've broken the ice now. Also, I found the quote you said. To the thing about working on what you love. If you're impacted by the material, then the interior, then you can make an impact with it, or something like that.
Oh, that's a Aristotle quote. Aristotle says the poet cannot impact on others who he himself is not impacted on. So you want to replace thinking with listening. If you think, you're fucked. Whenever we get in trouble in life, we think way too much. We think about what's not working. So if you replace thinking with listening and allow that to impact on you, and only then can you impact on others. That's what you're talking about.
Okay, so
Well
I was
said.
way off, basically. Is what
We had one word right. So
I had the impact. Seems like it was a key word there. I doubled down
you
on
know
it.
what? You got a lot of great information. So, as an artist, your greatest assets are your mistakes. As a human being, you try not to make any. So, go ahead, go ahead and make a mistake and see where it leads you, instead of trying to do everything fucking right.
Well, that's the reason this podcast exists. I told you, this is just we do this for fun. And I'm not gonna be rich off this. Like this is literally for the 9 people that watch it every week. Actually, there's a little bit more than that, but it's
How many
actually done a
followers
lot
do
for
you
me.
have? How many followers do you have?
We have 1,100 on YouTube.
And
Okay.
I do
And
a podcast as well called JOFO in the Ring, wrestling wise. I don't know if you're a big wrestling fan, but we do wrestling, and we've interviewed the Godfather, Santino Marella, Devon Dudley, guys from the WWE as well. But before, like I said, I know we're winding down. There's one thing I have to ask.
Yeah.
If it came down to it, what's it gonna take for a Billy Madison 2 to happen? I don't know. I know you're not involved in the back end of it, but what would it take for it to happen? Adam Sandler, if you're listening, please.
Yeah, I just did the same. He tweeted like 2 days ago. He tweeted a old call sheet. You know what a call sheet is?
No.
It tells you a call sheet is in the movie industry. It tells you what time you got to be on set tomorrow.
It's a schedule for us fucking normal folk over here. Okay, it's a schedule. All right, sorry.
All right. Well, you do your fucking homework. You know what a call sheet is. So he tweeted a picture of a call sheet, and he said the good old days, and I tweeted back Billy Madison 2 ? So I'm on board with you fellas. Let's make it happen. Let's start a campaign.
Do us something right now, then, so we could clip it, if you don't mind. Can you channel Jack and go, Billy? Are we gonna do a Billy Madison 2? Can you?
Billy Madison 2. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you one funny story that happened. They were setting up we were doing the pickle race scene.
Yeah.
And again, it's just about making each other laugh and having fun. And I said to Sandler, I go, hey, you know what would really be funny in this movie? And he goes, what? I go, if your part was played by Bill Murray. And we all maybe that's why I'm not in it.
Yeah, and there's the answer to the reason why you never got fucking called back, my friend.
And we'll end it on that, fellas.
Too soon.
Mark, can you give us your social media platforms so that everybody can
plug yourself if you need.
Sure, yeah, I'm on Facebook, Mark Beltzman. I have a fan page, Mark Beltzman. Instagram is at Mark Beltzman. It's really hard to figure out. Twitter is at Mark Beltzman.
We'll have all your social media links on
all right, you can find that here.
It's also just at the bottom. Go to my website, markbeltzman.com, and everything's at the bottom of the website. You can find all those links to shit and, contact me, say hi.
Do you do cameos and all that stuff?
What's that?
Do you do the cameos and all that stuff?
I've done cameo. Nobody ever fucking hires me for shit, dude.
Well, you put yourself on there. You don't have to go through an agent. You just put yourself on it there.
I'm on Cameo.
Oh, you are? You're there? Okay, perfect, bro.
Thanks,
you
Mark.
so much.
I really appreciate everything, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you, buddy. I hope you had at least a little bit of fun. Take care.
Thanks for reaching out. Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. We'll do it again sometime.
And we'll do this again in the future. And good luck with everything. And we'll be behind you 100% with everything you do, buddy.
Thanks, fellas. Aloha.
Take care. Aloha.